Live on stage for the first time, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles! It's not the movie soundtrack, dudes. This is rock and roll. Now get your kids their hot new audio cassette and concert tour book for $3.99, only at Pizza Hut. Why Pizza Hut? Because they don't sell pizza in record stores, dude.
Hey everybody, this is Jordan from Smallville, Bad Cat Shipper. This podcast is part of the Batman Universe Podcast Network, and you can help support the Batman Universe by heading to patreon.com/the Batman Universe. Now, Tim.
What's up, Dane?
It's early, but it's still, nonetheless, the beginning of the 2018 baseball season.
It's early, but it's getting late already.
And are things looking good for the Yankees? Not so good.
It's not bad, but it should be a lot better. They're hovering about 500. They're just playing 500 baseball the last few weeks, probably since our last episode.
Yeah.
Right now they're 10-9, but they'll probably be 10-10 tomorrow. Then they'll be 11-10. That's how it goes. They win one, they lose one. They win two, they lose two. They just can't get a good winning streak going, which has been very frustrating. And then you counter that with the Red Sox being pretty much unbeatable this season so far. They're getting into a hole that, like I said, it may be early, but if you dig yourself a deep enough hole, it's going to start getting late early, as Yogi Berra said. So things could be better, but it's not the end of the world yet for the Yankees.
Did they do something with Fenway? You know, I was watching the highlights, and I don't know. Did they redo the field or something?
Nothing too substantial, at least that I'm aware of, or that I noticed. But
yeah, maybe it's just I haven't seen Fenway that often.
Most stadiums have that netting now.
Yeah, the extended netting,
which is really good. They probably should have been done a long time ago.
I wonder if the A's did that.
They probably figured, why bother?
Yeah, because
they don't want to ruin what's such a pristine stadium.
Plus, who knows there? I mean,
no one's in those seats anyway.
that extra innings game against the White Sox, when it started getting the 10th, 11th inning, there was nobody there. Everybody had left.
Yeah. Even people in the cheap seats weren't going down to the good seats.
I don't know.
That's how it usually goes.
There's a lot of empty, noticeably empty seats. You remember one year the White Sox? Can't remember what happened. I think their opening day game was delayed or it was pushed back or something, and most of the seats were empty. Remember that? Was that last year?
It's not ringing a bell. Yeah, I'm sure that's the case, but I don't remember actually hearing that. But with weather, especially in the Chicago area this season, I'm sure a few seasons ago was pretty the same, where they probably had a delay opening day.
But anyway, it looked noticeably empty. I mean, it looked like a ghost town.
You could actually hear the players talk on the field.
It looked like, everything was broken down or closed down, and there was a sea, Tim, of green seats. I mean, it looked like a ghost town. I mean, and plus, I don't understand why. If you look at the Coliseum, it looks like normal stadiums, right? I mean, from the 50s. I don't understand why they made that extension to the top of the stadium, and B, why they even opened it.
Yeah, what they closed off and then they reopened it again.
Yeah, because they recently, because it was the 50th anniversary of them being in Oakland this past week, I think, and they were doing a free giveaway, right, of tickets, right? And what I don't understand is they filled the bottom part, right? The bottom bowl. But even even though it was free tickets, they still didn't fill up that top part.
Oh man.
So like, I'm just wondering why. I mean, was it a football thing? Was it for the Raiders?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe because that sold more for football games. I wonder if you would hope so, but if they were in the postseason, if those seats would sell out still there. Because I think when they were in the playoffs the last a few years ago, like back in 2012 and 13, those were closed off back then, weren't they?
No, they only opened them for playoff baseball.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't understand.
I actually think they would sell out for those.
Yeah, I don't understand why they open those. I mean, you can't even sell out the bottom part, so like, I mean, I guess those are like super, super cheap seats, right? If you can't sell out the bottom part.
They should be like dollar seats.
Yeah.
Just to get some people in there and make it look full.
I don't know.
Well, maybe when they buy the stadium and they do a remodel, they'll get rid of that top section there.
I don't know, Tim. I mean, it's the Coliseum.
Hey, but look on the bright side. Both our teams are having some upcoming Star Wars themed bobbleheads in the near future.
Yeah, at least they're trying, you know? I mean, at least they're trying something. Because I know, like, last year at least, they had a ton of Star Wars nights, it seemed like. Like Star Wars themed nights, Star Wars themed this fireworks show, you know?
The bobblehead you showed me last night looked pretty cool, though. I forget what player was it?
Matt Chapman.
Okay, yeah. I saw Han Solo with a Chewbacca next to him.
Yeah.
It's a nice sized bobblehead. It's definitely worth to pick up. And then the Yankees are doing one next weekend or 2 weeks from now for May the 4th, an Aaron Judge Jedi bobblehead where he's in the Jedi robes and he has a lightsaber that lights up. It looks really cool.
You see, that's even the bobbleheads. People have nicer bobbleheads than the A's. So I
was just complimenting on their Han Solo Chewbacca bobblehead, though. It's not that bad.
Yeah. I do like the new green uniform for the A's. I think it's the third color. I don't know if you've seen it.
I don't think I've noticed that so far this season.
Yeah, well, nobody really watches them. So.
Maybe when they play the Yankees in a few weeks, I'll notice it.
Yeah, just think of the. It's so hard to explain. The green, the green shirt.
Yeah.
Except it's a brighter green.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just brighter, but it looks better. So.
Yeah, I wonder why they decided to do that.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe as like a throwback kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, a few teams are doing that this year. Diamondbacks and the Rays are doing it because it's their 20th anniversary since they joined the league as an expansion team. So they're having some throwback jerseys that they're doing over the course of a few games this year.
Never really liked the Diamondbacks old uniforms.
I kind of like their purple ones because it's unique.
yeah. I mean, nobody else is wearing purple.
Yeah,
but like
the only ones they have is kind of generic.
Yeah, it's the same thing with the old Marlins team logo with the Marlin. Yeah, I never really liked that.
I was a little, I wouldn't say obsessed, but I was into the Marlins when in their first season.
Yeah.
Because that was the first time since I was a kid being into baseball where we were getting expansion teams with the Marlins and the Rockies. I was like, oh, cool. Florida's getting a baseball team in Colorado. I just took to the Marlins for some reason. I think it's because of their logo and their color scheme, like the aqua green color and the Marlin fish on the hat. I used to wear that hat so much.
Really?
When I was a little kid, yeah. Made sure I watched their first game. There was like one season, which their opening season was 93, I believe. So I was a Marlin fan for a little bit, but that didn't last too long.
I used to always like the Tampa Bay Rays. When they had the Ray, or the actual, Ray, manta ray.
The Devil Rays, yeah.
Yeah, the Devil Rays. Plus, they had a cool name, the Devil Rays. So.
But they didn't start getting good until they dropped it and were just the Rays.
I can't believe they need a new stadium.
Oh, they need one. Them and Oakland, they're the two teams that need new stadiums more than anybody.
What happened with it?
It's awful. The dome is awful. You got those catwalks that interfere with balls in play. Yeah. Nobody goes. It's in a bad location. So.
Really? It's in a bad location?
Yeah, you could flip a coin to see whose is worse, the Coliseum or Tropicana Field. They're really both bad.
Coliseum.
So don't feel so lonely, Dane. There's another team out there who's suffering stadium woes like you are.
Yeah, it's really weird, by the way. I was watching, I don't even remember. It was A's versus somebody. They were playing at the Coliseum. It was a day game. And before the game started, they were doing a walkthrough kind of thing. I mean, a little piece where they throw things, the booth throw things down to Dallas Braden, who's their sort of like color guy, right?
So that's where he went.
Yeah. After that perfect game, he kind of disappeared.
His perfect game and yelling at A-Rod were his game.
What was that for? Like stepping on the mound?
A-Rod,
crossing
it was the end
mound?
of the inning, and A-Rod was going back to the dugout, and he just walked across the mound, and he yelled off, "Get off my mound."
And then after that, he threw a perfect game for some reason.
Everyone attributed to the A-Rod.
He must have been really mad at A-Rod for some reason. But anyway, they throw things down to him, and he's doing his piece. And I couldn't help but notice, like, they show him on camera, and I couldn't help but notice to his left or his right, I can't remember. There's like the wall, and there's like, the A's logo, whatever. But then on the side of Dallas Braden, there's like some exposed wires, like a bundle of exposed wires. And I was like, what is that? I mean, this is supposed to be a Major League Baseball park. There's like lighting, wires that are exposed, hanging down.
You have electrical violation code.
I know.
Like building code violation that they have there.
I couldn't believe it. And I was watching this piece, I guess, from the local Oakland, I guess, news. And they were doing a piece on how old the Coliseum is, like everybody does. And they show like cell phone footage of, I guess it was raining really hard, and the rain is just pouring into the locker room area, the tunnel, right? And there's a bunch of exposed wires that are getting wet, and
see, maybe they're trying to purposely blow it up or cause
I don't know,
a fire or explosion in that stadium. Oh man!
And of course, like they had to talk about the sewage, the sewage situation there, and it's so funny in the piece. They said, at one point, the Coliseum was something to behold, and it was, state of the art. And then they go on to say, in the 1960s.
Can't quite say that now. Yeah. Oh man, that's funny that they're having a celebration of being in Oakland in the Coliseum 50 years, but it's kind of a sore subject right now to talk about how bad the stadium is.
I mean, they're selling it, Tim. I mean, they got the whole rooted in Oakland thing. They're doing stuff with I guess there's this thing called like the authentic fan promotion. Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure what's going on with that, but like they're trying to get people to the ballpark, I guess.
Like you said, gotta do what you can.
Yeah.
Do whatever it takes.
And I'm not sure if they're going to get this bid for the Oakland Coliseum.
So even that might not even work out.
Yeah, because there's other people bidding for the land. They're going to tear down the stadium and they're going to build like a shopping center or whatever. And what I didn't know is they're not only buying out the Coliseum from debt, but they're also buying out the Oracle Arena right next to it.
Oh, wow.
But it's going to be empty because the Golden State Warriors are moving to San Francisco. So they're kind of buying a empty arena also.
Well, there's tons they can do with that.
Yeah, I guess. But anyway, that's enough of Oakland's Coliseum woes, stadium woes.
I'm here for you when you need to vent, Dane.
So yeah, good season for the Yankees, Tim.
I wouldn't say that just yet. I'd
Why
say
not?
adequate, I guess.
So
You're above 500.
Yeah.
It's adequate.
So barely passing it. Passing
Yeah.
the test.
Yeah, it could be a lot. It's supposed to be a lot better, but they just better turn it around quick.
Well, if somebody starts hitting, stop striking out.
I have no idea who you're talking about there, Dane.
Maybe they can, get something together. Anyway, let's just do our minute-by-minute commentary. So make sure you grab your VHS tape, grab your Blu-ray, grab your HD DVD, grab your Laserdisc, grab your beta tape, grab your projector, grab your Netflix physical DVD subscription, grab your Blockbuster card, grab your GameFly rental, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did I miss anything?
You're missing the newest one. The newest and greatest.
Right. Grab your VHS to DVD converted copy of Dark Knight Rises, and I'm going to give the countdown. So, Tim, are you ready?
I think that's my favorite one, though, now. That VHS to DVD converter copy.
I can't believe people do that. Oh. Anyway, are you ready?
Yep, let's do it.
All right,
I got my converter all set.
Okay, good. All right, 3, 2, 1, hit play.
Still in the middle of the
Prison.
I guess I was going to say Bane origin, but that's what they wanted you to believe here.
Oh, yeah.
The Bane / Talia origin. I will say, though, when I was in the theater seeing this for the first time, I was really, happy to see them doing, pretty much the Bane origin story that we knew in the comics. The little, the baby who was born in prison, who grew up there.
Yeah.
And so at this point, it was all, awesome. They're doing some cool, nods to Bane's origin story in the comics. They're doing like their own spin on it, but still paying, tribute to how it was from the source material, which I thought was cool. But even then, with that being Talia, it didn't ruin anything for me afterwards, saying, oh, well, why did they switch it? It still worked for the story they were trying to tell. And who knows, Bane was in that prison. Maybe maybe he did grow up there. Or he just never got out until Ra's al Ghul came and rescued everybody.
So what was wrong with Bruce's back?
They never really say. I mean, you assume that it was broken, but I know that's this part, even though we're minutes up, this is the part where some people have issues with was him getting his back fixed this quickly and just by hanging on that rope. But
yeah,
sometimes you just got to roll with it. In the course of the limited amount of time they have to tell this story, and they try to put a gap in there with it being 6 months. So
sometimes you just need some prison surgery.
Yeah. Some unorthodox methods that you wouldn't expect to work end up working. So, don't have to suspend your disbelief too much.
That doesn't really bother me. What bothers me about that scene or any of the prison scenes is how do they get food down there?
That's a good question. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's just a hole in the ground in the middle of nowhere, right? So
yeah, they're supposed to make it like nobody gets in or out. So,
yeah, so like
unless they drop a new prisoner in there, but maybe they do have someone who drops some food in a way that no one can, sabotage and try to escape with them to bring the food. So who knows?
Anyway, why don't you tell everybody at home about our featured topic for this episode, Tim?
Yeah, so this episode's featured topic is going to be my review of Suicide Squad: Hell to Pay, the latest DC animated movie. And this one, I got to say, we talked about when you got the trailer, got the announcement for it. I wasn't too excited for it because to me, this sounded like another generic origin Suicide Squad story, which, that didn't get me excited for this movie. We got, we've seen it before several times now, in the animated movie and the live action Suicide Squad movie. I wasn't, too interested in seeing another story where the Suicide Squad comes together and they got to do a mission for Amanda Waller and all that. But I've heard some good things about it. I know Jordan in our last episode in the email he said it was great. He liked it a lot, and I've heard some good buzz. So I didn't buy it. I actually rented it. This is probably the first time I did that with a DC animated movie, where I wanted to rent it first before I bought it because, hearing good things, but still I wasn't too excited or interested just yet, but I wanted to check it out because of the good buzz I was hearing. And much to my surprise and delight, it was a lot better than I expected. I actually really enjoyed it. And a part of it was it, subverted my expectations of it just being another generic Suicide Squad origin story. It wasn't an origin story. They were just going on a mission. So it was weird that the trailers kind of made it feel like we were getting another Suicide Squad origin story because, in the trailers, they showed them getting the bombs be put in them and this Amanda Waller explaining what happens if they disobey and all that. So it had the feel of it, but it just turned out that for every mission she would put the new bombs in them before they head out, and she would use different villains. So maybe it was the first time, and others it wasn't, like Deadshot. So I'm glad that aspect of something I was worried about not being the case in the movie. It was just another mission. But yeah, it was just a action packed, a lot of fun moments, and definitely warrants its R rating, where the violence is probably a bit over the top, especially in the opening sequence where Deadshot is working with Count Vertigo on a mission for Waller. There's just some over the top gun battles and different powers and weapons that are used. I know that's what they were going for. Even some of the preview stuff, some of the creators would talk about, they're going for a more slasher type, action adventure type movie, and they definitely achieved that. But so the point of the story for the movie is that after Deadshot completes his first opening mission with Count Vertigo, and the rest of the members on that team died for betraying Waller. But she has another mission for Deadshot. And another thing I wasn't too keen on when I heard the trailers about the kind of search for this mystical item, I was like, oh, they're gonna do some kind of like Enchantress again after the movie. Suicide Squad, I'm doing with some of the mystic stuff, didn't really work in that. I wasn't too keen to seeing another story revolve around that again, but it wasn't, the MacGuffin of the piece and the story. It didn't have an effect on the overall character interactions, and it felt out of place like in the movie did. But the thing is, Amanda Waller. Oh, by the way, spoilers for my review here of what happens in the movie. In case you haven't seen it yet, I'll be going into some of the major plot details here.
Can I ask you one thing, Tim?
Yeah, go for it.
Why is it rated R? Is it just the violence, or
mainly the violence? Yeah.
Oh, I thought they were swearing and stuff. I was like, that doesn't really match.
No F-bombs or anything.
Suicide Squad. Yeah.
But there is maybe a little more language than some of the other movies. But and there's a brief nude scene, for the split second. But that's about it. And it's mainly for the violence, though, because that's where it's really, they take it up a notch in this one.
Oh, I see.
So the plot is pretty much where Amanda Waller finds out she's sick and she has a terminal disease. They don't say what it is. So she sends, I keep calling it, I wanted to call Deadshot Slade. I don't know why, but, Floyd Lawton is his real name. I got to remember it's Floyd, not Slade, not Deathstroke, Deadshot. So to retrieve this special card, they don't know exactly what it is just yet. Or first she sends them to look for somebody who would lead them to this card. So, pairs them up with the members we're familiar with, Captain Boomerang, Harley, and then also Killer Frost and Copperhead, and then Bronze Tiger. They're pretty much the main members of the Suicide Squad. So she sends them to look for this guy, and who ends up being at a male strip club, and he's a stripper. He's this really aloof guy. He's all full of himself, this a playboy type guy. But when they capture him, they find out he was actually a Dr. Fate. But, he was removed from that responsibility from the helmet after he failed to protect that card. So they find that out. They find out the card, the basic premise of it, it's a card. It's called the Get Out of Hell free card, where if you die, no matter how bad you are, you wouldn't go to hell. That's what the characters believed in. So that's why Amanda Waller wants it. She knows she's done bad stuff. She knows she's dying. And she wants to avoid that. And that's where a bunch of other villains get involved with it. You see Reverse Flash or Zoom. He's working with Blockbuster, and who else was he working with? Silver Banshee. So that's his crew. And then you got Vandal Savage with his daughter working with someone from Apocalypse. I forget her name though, but they're pretty much all converging against each other to get this card. So it makes for some fun action sequences where you see the Suicide Squad go up against, Reverse Flash, and you see them going up with Vandal Savage. And that's what made this movie fun. A lot of great cameos because when we're introduced to Vandal Savage's daughter, they're there they break up Professor Pig trying to operate on Two-Face. And I like the look of Two-Face. It was this animated series style design where you had the blue face. So that was cool. You get this fun little cameos from different characters and villains of the DC universe. Nothing where it felt too cramped. There's too many characters, but when the main characters needed to get some, it was nice to sprinkle in some DC cameos like Two-Face there, but Professor Pig played a role as well. But the standout for me was the role Reverse Flash played in here, and I'll get to him in a little bit. But once their first encounter where Deadshot they were escaping with the card and Reverse Flash is trying to go after him, he's trying to shoot him, and he's noticing that Reverse Flash, he's not as fast. He goes, because he's chasing them in the van. He goes, he should have caught up to us by now, but he hasn't. So that was another mystery that I was curious about going into it. 'Cause I was thinking the same thing. I was like, glad they called Reverse Flash out there because he should easily catch up to that van, but he's not. So what's up? And so that was a new mystery in the story. I couldn't wait to find out because there had to be some reason for that. So basically, once there's betrayals, there's Vandal Savage's daughter betrays Vandal Savage, and she gives the Suicide Squad the location to where he's at because he attacked them and he got the card. And then Killer Frost betrays the Suicide Squad to work for Zoom. So there's a lot of switching sides in here over the course of the movie. But the big thing that I really liked about this movie is how, and this is a twist that I did not see coming, and Jordan mentioned this in his email about the movie, and I'm glad he didn't spoil it because it was a really cool reveal. Reverse Flash, the reason he was after this, and I was wondering because C. Thomas Howell, who played him in the Justice League Flashpoint Paradox movie, he does a great job. It's a great performance. That's Reverse Flash. I was wondering, okay, are they just using him because he's a great voice actor and he does a great performance for Reverse Flash and just wanted to use him again? Or is this going to tie in to Flashpoint in some way? And sure enough, it does. It was just a really cool reveal where Reverse Flash, he has everyone, the Suicide Squad's frozen. Vandal Savage, he has him frozen by Killer Frost. Like I said, she betrayed the Suicide Squad and went to work for them. He's about to take the card, and he reveals why. And then he takes off his mask, and you see this big hole in his head from the bullet wound that the Flashpoint Batman shot, the Thomas Wayne version, shot him with at the end of the Flashpoint movie. My mouth at them like, oh man, they're going for that. It is directly connected to Flashpoint. Okay, this is awesome. This is a great surprise, and that mystery I was curious about why he was slow. What a great reveal as to why, because it turns out he starts giving a monologue of what happened once Thomas Wayne shot him in the head at Flashpoint. He pretty much he knew he couldn't save himself, really. He was dying, but he gathered what all energy he could from the Speed Force to have that process slow down as much as he could to where he was able to make himself go into the other timeline to where the Suicide Squad movie is taking place. But he's slowly dying, and that's why he wants to get that get out of hell free card. So I just love that aspect that they drew that in where he's, the power of the Speed Force. It's just so awesome. I just love that aspect of Flash and his mythology. It's how the different ways you can use it in this way. It's a real selfish reason that Reverse Flash or Zoom is doing it, but it's just such a cool little surprise I wasn't expecting in this movie, and to have Zoom and Thawne played a big role in it, because I just thought he might be in a sequence or two. I wasn't sure if he was going to be the main villain or one of the main villains, but it definitely ended up having a bigger role than I was expecting, and to have it be continuing from Flashpoint just to get a little victory what he can, even though he knew he was dying from that bullet wound, was just really cool. So that was just a really surprising twist. I'm just glad it all connected with that Flashpoint movie, because I said before how much I love that animated movie. So it was just great to have that connection with it. So he thinks he's won, he's got the card, and he ends up killing Vandal Savage. And Vandal Savage wants it because he goes, I may be immortal, but I'm not invulnerable. And with all the, like surgeons of metahumans and superheroes and the people I have to fight now, there's a chance I could die. So I want to protect myself by having that card and for the afterlife and all that stuff. So that's why he wants it. And I think Reverse Flash is gonna win. He has the card, but Deadshot is able to escape the frozen ice from Killer Frost thanks to Copperhead, even though Copperhead gets killed, and then Bronze Tiger gets out. Then Bronze Tiger and Deadshot, they had this feud going on throughout the course of the movie because they have different ideals. Bronze Tiger, even though he's killed people, he has a code. He only kills criminals, no innocent people he wants to harm, and he knows that's not the case with Deadshot. So they clash a lot in this movie, but they always had a little mutual respect for each other as the movie progressed, and it happened here at the end as Bronze Tiger was doing what he could to face off and hold off a Reverse Flash from getting that card, and even though he dies in the process, but he was able to prolong it long enough where Deadshot was able to take out Reverse Flash and having him end up dying anyway without the card. And what the way he showed his respect for Bronze Tiger was because Waller was on their case the whole time, like, make sure you have that card, I'm on my way, make sure nobody else gets it. So Floyd Lawton had the card, and you can only use it once. That's the thing. So as Bronze Tiger was dying, he used the card on him. So once he gave it to Waller, it was pretty much useless. But he didn't tell her that. She thinks she has it. She noticed something was wrong. She just tells him, hey, this card, it feels cold. And he goes, hey, we've been stuck with Killer Frost, and there's tons of ice. It's been a cold room there, so that's why. So she kind of she suspects something, but she, I guess, was just happy enough to have the card where she didn't want to see it. So just the character dynamic between Deadshot and Bronze Tiger, I thought, was another highlight of the film. Good performances, too, by Christian Slater as Deadshot. I thought he did good. And Billy Brown as Bronze Tiger. They gave good performances over the course of the movie, and their characters are probably the standouts other than Reverse Flash for me in the film. So, yeah, just all around, it was just a fun action. It's, nothing extremely deep or, that's going to resonate you too much on an emotional level. There's maybe a few moments, like I said, with Bronze Tiger and why he's doing things and his how him and Deadshot class. But it's just a fun action movie. And I said the stuff with Reverse Flash is what I really, really enjoyed most, and that twist with it tying into Flashpoint, which is really cool. And yeah, since I'm on the subject of Reverse Flash, I just got to say, he's becoming one of my all-time favorite DC villains over the last few years. I know he's always been one of the best Flash villains, but just in general, from the stuff we've gotten to DC animated movies, especially with Flashpoint, the Justice League Flashpoint Paradox film, and just the comic too, and the role he played there, and also in the TV show, the first season of The Flash. Just great performances that we're getting for this character. I mentioned C. Thomas Howell, but then in the Flash show, Tom Cavanaugh as Reverse Flash in season 1, because I know technically they got another actor who was the real Eobard Thawne, but the performance that Tom Cavanaugh gave in season 1 was just really menacing, and that you really took to as a villain of the show, which is really great. So yeah, Reverse Flash, the way he just torments Barry Allen is just, it fits for him to being his most, pretty much his Joker to Flash's Batman in a way. That's Flash's ultimate villain for what he's done to him. The fact he's being from the future, obsessed with the Flash, but then being the one to, in a way, create the Flash by going back in time and murdering his mother and setting off the chain of events that would cause Barry to become the Flash. So it's just one of those crazy time, paradox situations where someone who obsessed with the Flash but doesn't know it yet, but is responsible for creating Flash in a way. I always like that type of stories, even though sometimes they can get a bit confusing when you're doing with time travel, but it makes for a better, I guess, rivalry that the characters have as a hero and villain when you get someone like that. And it's, in a way, physically there could be evenly matched, but the way Thawne torments Barry and just reminds them of some of the stuff that he's a failure and the way he, can never live up to being a hero, or he thinks he's a hero, but he's not. He does more than just be a physical threat to Flash being as fast as he is too, but just the mental games he plays with them is what makes him, one of his most dangerous foes, I think, too. So yeah, Reverse Flash, Eobard Thawne, he's rising up there as one of my all-time favorite DC villains. And this portrayal of him and his performance in this movie helped with that too. Just that concept of him doing everything he could to, escape death. Or not escape death, but, try to make it easier for himself in the process. Just, again, how cool it is to have that control he has over the Speed Force. So, Yeah, a lot of cool stuff. And again, very surprised that I enjoyed it the way I did. Was not your typical Suicide Squad story, which made it good. It had that, they were building it up as a road trip movie because the Suicide Squad were traveling in an RV pretty much throughout the course of the film, and just, making things a little more tense between the group. And you throw in some cool stuff with other DC characters that made it for a fun ride. Some stuff that was kind of my nitpicks about it, story-wise, I just have a hard time believing these many characters would, kind of believe in something about going to hell. They would need a get out of hell free card, like Zoom, Reverse Flash, and Amanda Waller, even for that matter. They don't seem like the type of characters who would really think they would need to have something like that to save their soul or whatever. So I get it made for an interesting MacGuffin for the film, but the characters who are after it was cool to see different villains converge against each other to go after this thing. I just sometimes have a hard time believing that they would believe such a thing would exist. So it's something it's kind of nitpicky. You just have to, I guess, get over it and believe it for the course of the story. But that kind of stood out for me, where some characters that didn't fit their personalities, that they would believe that they would need to have that. But it made for a fun romp. So if I had to rate this one, I'm going to go ahead and I'll give it a 4 out of 5, because I really love that twist they had with Reverse Flash and how it tied into Flashpoint. It was unexpected. It was done really, really well. And yeah, so I got to give props to Alan Burnett. And another reason I wanted to make sure I checked this out was because he's saying this is the last DC project he's going to be writing. I think he's going to be retiring. So he definitely went out on a good note. It was kind of surprising that he chose it to be Suicide Squad, not something, with the main DC heroes or Batman, as he's written so many great Batman stories. But it was definitely a story that was, he won't be remembered by going out on a whimper. So it was definitely a good way to ride off into the sunset as a writer in the DC universe. So got to give props to Alan Burnett there, and just, I guess, not only props for this movie, but his career working in DC animation in general. I mean, he's a big part of Batman the Animated Series, and he's written some great, not only episodes there, but some of the DC animated movies too, as well. Some really great ones. So sad to see him go, but thankful for all the great entertainment he's provided me over the course of, over 20 years. So hats off to Alan Burnett as well. So yeah, if you're interested in checking out just for, a fun hour and a half to pass the time with some DC characters and some cool action, definitely check out Suicide Squad: Hell to Pay. I was much surprised by how much I enjoyed it.
Yeah, maybe I'll rent it then, since you did also.
Yeah, definitely worth the rental price, that's for sure. I'll probably end up buying it eventually. Just, not quite just yet. Because basically I don't know when I'm going to watch it again, and no need to have it sitting on the shelf for a while before I do. So when I have the urge to watch it again or want to show it to someone else, then I'll probably pick it up.
All right. So is that it for our future topic, Tim?
Yep, that's it.
All right. So now we can move on to our news and discussion topics. The first one is Kathy Yan is going to be directing the Birds of Prey film featuring Harley Quinn. Good choice, I think. I mean, I know she's kind of an untested director. I haven't really seen anything that she's directed, but I mean, it's a step in the right direction.
No, yeah, I agree. I mean, I would kind of like to see more, like you mentioned, unexperienced directors giving their shot, or first big shot with these comic book properties. I think is a good thing. And the thing I'm having trouble figuring out, because this is just the fault of all these other announcements they've been made. What exactly is this movie going to be? Because we know there's Suicide Squad 2, there's a Harley and Joker movie, there's supposed to be a Gotham City Sirens, and Margot Robbie's Harley is supposed to be involved in a lot of different movie projects. So it took a while to really see what this movie's going to be, but they're calling it, I mean, Deadline had the exclusive report, so they're calling it a Birds of Prey film, but they don't know exactly who's going to be in it other than Harley and Batgirl, Barbara Gordon. So, there's a chance, I guess, that maybe could have Black Canary and Huntress in it, or is it going to be a combination of the Gotham City Sirens with Catwoman and Poison Ivy? I don't know, but yeah, the director choice is good. I mean, it's good that they're having a female director work on this project that's going to focus on Harley Quinn and Batgirl. And who knows, maybe this could be a jumping off point for Kat at the end. If this works out and, they want to use Batgirl again for the movie, so maybe she could work her way on this one and then jump on to Batgirl or another Harley Quinn movie. So it's good. Like I said, good that some new directors are getting their chance here with a big project like this. And it also, I believe the article brought out too that the same writer who got announced to be doing the Batgirl movie, Christina Hodson, is writing this new Birds of Prey film as well. So that makes me kind of believe too that they want this to be maybe a jumping off point for Barbara and Batgirl, where they introduce her here and then she'll jump into her solo movie. So I just like how we're getting some symmetry here, getting some same creative forces involved here to hopefully work on several projects. So yeah, this is exciting, but I just want to know exactly, is this a Birds of Prey film or not? Because I have a feeling that might not be the final title if it's going to revolve around Harley and Batgirl. So we'll see. But again, I'm excited for it.
Even if it isn't, I mean, just having a solo Harley Quinn movie, would be fine with me. Also, I see like Christina Hodson. She wrote the spin-off Bumblebee from the Transformers movies.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's supposed to come out this year, maybe next year. I'm not sure, but
is Bumblebee the one that breakdances?
I'm sure he does. It's one of those movies.
I can't remember, but
yeah, neither can I. But I'm sure there was breakdancing by an Autobots at some point in one of those films.
And also, like, I'm reading about Kathy Ann, and she started off as a journalist. She doesn't have a background in filmmaking, right? She started off as a journalist for the Wall Street Journal, which is interesting.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And our next piece of news is that Steven Spielberg will be directing a Black Hawk movie, or as Tim put it in the show notes, Black Hawk movie.
I just noticed that now. Yeah, HWAK. That's how we're going to spell it this one.
Like Ava DuVernay directing this New Gods movie. Is it called? Is it New Gods? Right.
Yeah.
I think if you're going to get Steven Spielberg and you're going to get Ava DuVernay, I think they should be on one of the bigger movies, not Black Hawk. I mean, I understand. I mean, maybe there's Black Hawk fans out there, but when was the last time you read a Black Hawk comic, or seen him in a comic?
Yeah, the Blackhawks have had a presence in some of the recent stories, the Dark Knight's Metal, and even a little bit in Scott Snyder's All-Star Batman, but they're totally different from what this movie's going to be in the original Blackhawk and the Blackhawk team. But I know what you're saying, but at the same time, I don't know. I kind of pictured this as something Steven Spielberg maybe wanted to do, because to me, this seems like right up his alley as far as to do a World War II story with the characters, the Black Hawk and the Black Hawk pilots. I just can't help but think what has me excited about it, their great appearance in the Justice League season 1 finale episode, where they travel back in, to World War II for Vandal Savage there, and the Blackhawks make an appearance and played a, pretty big role over the course of that 3-part season finale. So that was pretty much my first exposure to them. They were cool there. And so, knowing what Steven Spielberg does with like Indiana Jones films, I just think it could make for a really fun adventure story with the character of the Blackhawks. So again, I know what you mean. I don't think anyone's clamoring for a Black Hawk movie, but when you combine that with Spielberg, I get excited for it. So one of those things too, because it's probably not going to be a while, because I think Indiana Jones 5 is what he's going to do next. And this would probably be after that, I would imagine. But
how's that going to work out? Is Harrison Ford coming back?
Yeah, they're saying they're billing it as his last one.
Yeah.
So again, I don't know if they're gonna. Depends how I guess how well it does. If they want the franchise to continue, I really don't want to recast as a young Indiana Jones for the series to keep it going, or would they kill off Harrison Ford, or does the TV series count because there was an old Indy and the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles TV show?
Right.
So I don't know if those count, or they're going to take into consideration where they can't kill him off, or they're going to somehow give a definitive ending to his story. It's going to be interesting, but.
Was the Young Indiana Jones, was that River Phoenix? in that show?
No, he was only in
The movie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, never mind. I wonder if Shia LaBeouf is coming back.
I don't think so. They didn't exactly leave on good terms with Harrison Ford and Spielberg. So.
Who did he play in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull?
Well, I think his name was Mutt. I know his first name was Mutt. I don't know if his last name was Williams. For some reason, that's coming to mind. Mutt Williams. But he might have had a different last name. I know for sure his first name was Mutt.
And that was Indiana Jones' son?
Yeah, so they're going to have to explain somehow like where he's at in this movie or why he's not there.
Okay. I don't know. I don't know how you rate yourself out of that one, but
yeah, or maybe just don't mention him. I don't know. Yeah, I just like the idea of Steven Spielberg being involved with a DC movie. I mean, maybe if he has a great time with this, he would want to do, a more familiar character project. But I'm just glad he's involved with a comic book movie. Just see what he does with those type of properties. And again, with Black Hawk and the setting in World War II, I think it's right up his alley. So yeah, it's probably a long ways off, but I'm excited to see what he does with it.
How many World War II movies has he done?
Saving Private Ryan, obviously. Schindler's List.
Right. Empire of the Sun?
Yeah, that's another one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is that it?
Indiana Jones? That takes place.
Oh, yeah, I gotta count though.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I feel really stupid now. You don't think of those as World War II movies per se, but they obviously take place during that time. So
yeah,
that's probably why I didn't think of it, but still no excuse. I actually just watched recently that HBO documentary they had on him.
Yeah, how was that?
It was really good. Yeah, they pretty much chronicle his career, most of his movies. Of course, they can't spend the same amount of time for all of his movies, but they give a nice portion to all of his big ones, which was cool. So, and then there's a great sequence we're talking about when he first met George Lucas and, how they were, friends in those early days, and some great old footage of them just hanging out, playing pool and stuff like that. So that was really cool to see.
How's the Jaws coverage?
Oh, that was really cool too. Okay. I mean, that's pretty much what starts it off. It's like, of course, his first big movie, and that's the first one they focus on, and all the problems it went through in production.
Yeah. Okay, I'm sold. If there's a lot of Jaws stuff, I'm sold.
Yeah.
And Jurassic Park, of course.
What a career, man! When you watch that, you just really it goes without saying, just appreciate the movies and the diverse type of movies he's made over the years. Just how many great ones. It's just astonishing.
Did The Lost World come out before Schindler's List, or did it come out after?
No, it was after. And that's crazy. I keep forgetting about this, but watching the documentary, Schindler's List and Jurassic Park came out the same year.
Yeah, he did it back to back, right? And then he got kind of burned out after that, right? And that's why he doesn't do sequels, or he didn't do a sequel for a long time.
Yeah, well, Lost World was after that. I don't think there was any. There might have been something in between, but I don't think so. So I think Lost World was the next one after both of those movies.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just crazy though. Two totally different types of movies.
Yeah.
Both being so well received and being graded as being a total opposite. And just how hard it was for him to do Schindler's List and then to do Jurassic Park right after. I mean, just to have two movies like that in the same year, what a really great feat for anyone to do.
Was it Jurassic Park, or was it Lost World?
No, it was Jurassic Park, the first one.
Oh, okay. So he did Jurassic Park or Schindler's List and Jurassic Park at the same time.
Yeah.
I mean, back to back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that explains a lot. Like, it seemed like Schindler's List was a passion project for Steven Spielberg, and then he did Jurassic Park, and then was Lost World after that?
Pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah. No wonder that kind of didn't turn out so well, because he must have been exhausted.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy how sometimes he has movies like the same year or the next year right after. I mean, he's always busy. He talks about that too, how he says, he doesn't like it where he's in between projects because he doesn't have any ideas or something. He needs to constantly keep working. That's just the way he does things, and it explains why he has so many movies come out so close together.
Did you see that Ready Player One?
Yeah, I actually saw that last weekend. I liked it a lot, actually.
Oh, really?
I thought it was good.
Oh.
Especially for those of us who are into video games. There's a lot of stuff you'd appreciate as being video game
Oh,
players.
there's like a lot of references or whatever.
And not just like familiar characters, just how gaming works in general and the stuff they bring into, the story of the movie was really like stuff that gamers I think would appreciate.
I mean, this is I can easily look this up, but I don't know if it really matters. But what is that movie about?
It's pretty much escaping into a virtual reality experience. I mean, it's called the Oasis. It's like it's in the future, and of course things take a turn from the worst. It's not like a post-apocalyptic world type thing. It's just things like the economy in certain areas are really bad, and people pretty much just use this new technology called the Oasis to escape, and that's pretty much drives the economics in the world now, where that's where all the money's at. So you got these big corporations wanting to abuse the format of the Oasis, take control of it and all that. And so that's pretty much the economic structure of the country is based on that virtual reality program. So that's why it's such a big deal in the course of the story. And the basic premise of it, the creator of it, he died, but in his will, he left an Easter egg in the Oasis, the virtual reality realm, where whoever finds it will have complete control of the Oasis and leaving them tons of money. Like I think he said $500 million or something like that. So then you get people there's 3 tests they got to accomplish throughout the course of the movie and in the Oasis in order to get 3 keys that allows access to that Easter egg, and then they'll take control of it. So you got players trying to find it, and you got this big corporation wanting to have full control of the Oasis who are after it, being, and the main villain of the film is played by Ben Mendelsohn from Rogue One and Dark Knight Rises. So he's always great as a bad guy and entertaining. So he was fun to watch in this too. So that's the basic premise of it. But again, when you're in the Oasis, you can have any avatar you want. You can look like anyone. So that's why you see a bunch of familiar faces in there. There's plenty of Batman references and characters you see just walking around, like not even big parts. You just see familiar characters walking around in the background and stuff, and different items they use for other movies. It's just a really cool, definitely a nostalgia trip. But again, it works in the premise of the film, I thought, being based, in a virtual reality game. So that's what, like I said, and then different reasonings and stuff they have to do to accomplish the task they have to do to find that Easter egg. Just like a lot of gamers would pick up on it, which makes it fun. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I haven't read the book. I remember the book getting rave reviews when it first came out a few years ago. So I knew about it, but I never read it. So this is my first exposure to what the story was. I can definitely see why so many people took to the book when that first came out.
Well, now that there's a movie, you don't have to read the book. That's the whole.
I've heard it.
That's the whole. That's the.
I've heard there's a lot of differences, of course, between the books and the movies, but I don't know too much what those differences are just yet. I think a lot of from what I read, the challenges in the book are different than what's in the movie, but I enjoy what I got in the movie, so maybe it's for the best.
I wonder what's Steven Spielberg doing after that, or what is he doing now?
I believe it's Indiana Jones 5. That's his next one.
Really?
Yeah.
He's just going straight into that.
Unless he has something else, like we're talking about. We know how he likes to work on a lot of projects at the same time, so maybe he might have one other film coming before Indy 5, but that should be his next main one if I remember right, what the schedule's supposed to be.
Yeah, I see. So yeah, that's it for our news, and now we can move on to our conversation with Alex / listener feedback. And did we get an email from Jordan, Tim?
Yes, we did.
Okay, you want to read that?
Yep. And Jordan begins his email as always. Hey, Tim and Dane and Alex. I loved hearing your guys' thoughts on Batman and Mr. Freeze Sub-Zero. I love that film. In contrast to what you guys were saying, it's actually one of the 3 Batman films that I think I've seen the most numbers of times in my life, along with Batman Beyond Return of the Joker and The Batman vs. Dracula. That's not to say that those are my top 3 favorites, although they are all very high on my list, but they are 3 movies, animated or live action, that I've watched the greatest amount of times. Sub-Zero and Return of the Joker I had on VHS as far back as I can remember. They were the first 2 animated Batman movies I ever saw, and when I watched them religiously growing up. As for the Batman vs. Dracula, that one didn't come out until 2005, but as you guys know, I was a massive fan of the animated series of Batman, and as soon as I got the Batman vs. Dracula on DVD, I watched it constantly. So that's the reason why those are the 3 Batman films I've seen the most. All 3 films in the Dark Knight trilogy will all probably surpass them eventually as time goes on. But for now, Sub-Zero, Return of the Joker, and Batman vs. Dracula are still at the top of the list. Talking about Sub-Zero in particular now, I just find it to be such an incredible Mr. Freeze story, brilliantly continuing on the Deep Freeze. I love how it's truly a Bat family movie too, including Batman, Robin, and Batgirl, the latter of whom was severely shortchanged in the original run of Batman the Animated Series prior to the new Batman adventures. I love how the film explores the Dick-Babs relationship, and the scene between them at the party is so sweet. The movie has a lot of suspense, particularly in the scenes where Barbara is being kidnapped and when she tries to escape. Then there's the beautiful ending to the movie, which always makes me cry, just like it does Mr. Freeze. It's a fantastic film. Oh, and it came out the year I was born, so I always thought that was cool about it. I haven't seen the HD remaster yet. It isn't available on Amazon Video, but I definitely plan to purchase it after it does become available. Yeah, I don't think you'll definitely won't be disappointed when you see it in HD. Like I said in last episode when I reviewed it, it just looks really great. The colors are just gonna pop out at you. And I wish you didn't say it came out when you were born, Jordan, because that just makes me feel even older. I was 15 when that movie came out in '98. And to hear that's when you were born, like, oh man, this old man.
See, how old was I in '98? 10.
Yeah, well, better than being born that year, but that doesn't help me feel any younger, Dan. I'm just 5 years older than you.
Yeah.
But Jordan continues saying the Death of Superman sneak peek looked really cool too. I will say that because of my aversion to resurrections due to them being an overused trope of the superhero genre that take away from the impact of a death initially and reduce the stakes moving forward, I've always had a fundamental problem with the story. But other than that, I think there's a lot to be excited about with this film. It's so great to finally be getting another solo Superman film in the DCU AOM line, the first 5 years, or the first in 5 years. And it's also cool that it'll be the first solo Superman film in the New 52-inspired shared universe. Yes, I'm using the term solo loosely because other Justice Leaguers will be in the movie, but I still think it counts. I actually am very glad that this movie will be in the New 52-inspired shared universe, since it'll further make it stand apart from Superman Doomsday. It feeling too much like a retread was a concern of mine when this originally was announced, since I actually really like Superman Doomsday, save for my general gripe about resurrections. I also am just glad they are continuing to expand the New 52-inspired universe. It's grown so much over the past few years. One thing that's intrigued me about the sneak peek is that they are bringing in Lois. I'm curious how they'll do this, as they were exploring the New 52 Superman Wonder Woman romance previously. As a Klana shipper, I'm not getting what I truly want either way. Yeah, I don't think they're going to be throwing Lana Lang in there as a relationship for Superman in these animated movies. And for the Wonder Woman, yeah, they definitely teased it, especially in the Justice League War and Dawn of Atlantis, but not enough to where I think him having a relationship with Lois would just feel so out of the blue, or like he's cheating on Wonder Woman or anything, so to speak. So, and you definitely got to have that Lois dynamic when you're doing the Death of Superman. She's a big part of what makes that, seeing the loss of Superman so devastating. So definitely glad they're bringing her in one way or the other. My oh my, did I love Batman 44. What an issue. Spoilers. It wasn't quite what I expected, to be honest, but it was so amazing nonetheless. Tom King has been brilliantly paying homage to the rich history of the Bat-Cat relationship throughout his run, especially through Bruce and Selina's cute debates about whether they met on the boat or on the street. And King continues the trend here. I love all the flashbacks to so many moments throughout the history of the Bat-Cat relationship dating back to 1940. I love the one from Batman 1 as it reinforces the idea that Bruce is right in the boat versus street debate. And I'm team boat. But my favorite flashback is the one to the Batman Hush interlude. That was so cool to see, as I love that moment from Hush. The art of this issue was spectacular. Mikael Yannon did an excellent work recreating the classic Bat-Cat moments in the flashbacks. And in the present-day scenes with Selina, Joelle Jones continues to cement herself as my second favorite comic book artist ever, as I mentioned in my last email. It was really awesome. Selina picked out that gorgeous wedding dress that Jones had designed, and the issue was such a great lead into the wedding. Bat-Cat forever, from the first kiss to the last. While I'm on the subject of Jones's art, I'm so excited about the news that she'll be writing and drawing a Catwoman solo title. It'll be so great to have a Catwoman solo title again. As much as I loved what Tom King has done with Catwoman in Batman Rebirth, I really, really have. It was disappointed at the start of Rebirth when Catwoman's New 52 title, which ended on a very strong note, ended and she didn't get her own Rebirth book. I can never get enough Catwoman, so it'll be an awesome to now get her in King's Batman run, where she's really the second lead, and now in her own book. The first issue releases on the same day as the Batcat wedding, July 4th. I didn't think I could be any more excited for July 4th than I already was, but now I am. I'm ecstatic about Jones drawing the book. Her cover for issue 1 is amazing, and I can't wait to see what she does as a writer, as I've never read anything she's written. Yeah, the Catwoman solo book coming. I'm curious to see what's it going to be. Is it going to be, showing Catwoman how she deals with married life and juggles her time as Catwoman, and kind of more of what we're getting already in Batman, what Tom King's doing? Or is it going to be, a solo title because of the fallout, what happens from the wedding? Because if there's something happens where they don't get married, and we're going to see what Catwoman's doing after that. So I don't want to, be a Debbie Downer on the excitement for the wedding here, Jordan, but I'm just curious to see what this book's going to be. I'm hoping myself it's not something where the wedding gets called off or they don't go through with it. Now she's off doing her own thing in a solo book. I wouldn't want to see that. I'm curious to see what it's going to be about. And I agree, it is good to have her own book again. I know it's been a while since she had one, but let alone since I've read a Catwoman book since the New 52. So, hopefully if everything works out good with the wedding story and it sets up a new status quo for her and Bruce and resonates for her to have her own title, which should be cool to see. I'm just curious, what exactly it's going to be about, but we'll find out in July. But Jordan continues saying, one other news item that I wanted to touch on is in some comments that Michael Rosenbaum and Tom Welling made at AwesomeCon. The last 2 weeks have been very good news this week for me, he says. They had 2 panels at that convention. They were on a general Superman one and on a Smallville specific one, both of which are amazing and can be watched online. At the Smallville specific panel, Michael and Tom said they'd be open to doing a Smallville reunion in the form of an animated series, and Michael even mentioned he'd spoken to Al Goff about it. I'd actually been campaigning for the idea of a Smallville animated reunion prior to them saying this. I was thinking an animated film in the vein of the Batman 66 movies rather than a series, but an animated series would be even better in my opinion. It's so great to hear that Michael and Tom would be game for this. If this comes to fruition, my hope is that they'd set it after the season 11 comics so that we could get a new story in the Smallville universe. But even if they adapted something originally from the season 11 comics, I'd totally be on board with that too. Crossing my fingers that this happens. And I wouldn't mind seeing that happen as well in animated form. Like Jordan brought up a good point with the Batman 66 movies, how good those turned out. Of course, tonally, it'd be totally different from Smallville and the Adam West show. But just that idea that medium is available to do new stories from old TV shows with the same actor is just a great avenue to go about bringing those new stories. So if they're both open for it, why not? And I would hope they kind of take from the season 11 comic, especially the Batman one, because I would love to see that played out on screen because I did like that story.
Yeah, I'm not sure about Smallville.
Well, it hasn't been getting the greatest of buzz the last few days, or with some of their former actors and actresses. So. But don't let the one, actions of an actress on the show stain the whole work and stories created by others. On that TV
I guess
show.
so. Yeah. There was a lot of people involved with that, and sometimes, and I don't mean to offend Jordan, but sometimes I forget that Tom Welling was a Superman. It's the same thing with Brandon Routh. I sometimes I totally forget about that he was a Superman.
I would say more so with Brandon Routh because he only played Superman once.
Yeah.
And
but
he's moved on.
The thing about Brandon Routh is they promoted him so much. Like how he looks like Christopher Reeve, and he was the image, right? And they were bringing back Superman, and then I can't remember what happened. Did it not make enough money?
Yeah, it didn't do that well at the box office, and the buzz around it and reactions wasn't that great either. It wasn't horrible, but not what they were looking for, I think, to kick off a new franchise.
Yeah. But yeah,
Yep.
so I forget that he's a Superman as well as Tom Welling.
See, I'll always remember Tom Welling as Clark. Well, Superman, not really, because he didn't get to be Superman until the very last few minutes of the whole series. So, but he played Clark Kent for 10 seasons, so he's had a lot of time to ingrain himself as one of the actors to play Superman, at least that I've seen. So I'll always remember him as playing Clark Kent. But Brandon Roth, I was going to say too, the fact that he moved on to play another DC character, Ray Palmer, in the TV show, also kind of makes you forget sometimes that he was Superman, because he has been the Atom now for so long. He does a great job as the Atom too, but not to where you forget, oh yeah, he was Superman. Just that you don't associate him with Superman as you would originally. At least I don't, because like I said, there's been other portrayals of Superman recently, and we've seen Brandon Routh play another character just as well. Maybe, I don't know, I'm tempted to say maybe better than he did Superman, because I didn't hate his performance as Superman. I just think it, like I said, too much of a Christopher Reeve impression, and I think his Clark Kent was way better than his Superman. So his Superman performance was a mixed bag for me. It's not horrible. It's just not the best, and I prefer him as Ray Palmer in the Atom now.
I prefer him as Dylan Dog. Remember he was in that movie?
Yeah, that's right.
Is that a DC movie?
I don't think so.
Dylan Dog? Okay. We'll look it up.
Like it's like a secret agent type thing.
I don't know anything about that.
Let's do a search for it real quick.
Yeah. I don't think... No, it's not a DC thing. It's a horror comics series?
Yeah. I'm just looking at the cover right now. It's like him, like the character Dylan Dog, with a Man-Bat type creature behind it with the same clothes. I guess he turns into different monsters or whatnot, but...
Yeah, what
I don't know where I got a secret agent thing from, but maybe I'm confusing it with something else. But,
he's a paranormal investigator.
There you go. Okay. 2010. So that's when that came out. I don't think that did very good.
Sam Huntington was in it. Taye Diggs was in it.
Look at its Rotten Tomatoes score.
Hold on. 8%.
Yeah, that's the highest of ratings.
The consensus stating, or the consensus is that it's an uninspired, feebly acted horror comedy that produces little scares and laughs. Well, at least it got a positive review. It's a good B movie inspired by a great top league European comic. So at least there's that.
Yeah, well, 8%, it's very, very low, but that means there's at least one or two positive reviews out there. So. Yeah.
Hold on, only made $1.2 million domestically.
Ouch.
on a $20 million budget.
Oh, man.
$4 million worldwide.
Oh, yeah, no matter what the score is, the studio ain't going to be happy about those box office results.
No. Kurt Angle was in it, the professional wrestler.
Oh, man. I don't know, but instead of renting Suicide Squad Hell to Pay, maybe you should rent Dylan Dog nowadays. Isn't it whetting your appetite to see what's all about?
I was about to say, I might have to see this. I mean, 8% on Rotten Tomatoes.
It's so bad, it's got to be good.
It's got to be good.
Yes, well, I don't think, unlike Dylan Dog, we obviously forgot about that. We won't be forgetting Superman before Dylan Dog. Thankfully. But as always, Jordan has a couple of questions to wrap up his email. He goes, what are your top 5 favorite animated Batman scenes of all time? Animated movies and series are valid here. My list has largely been altered thanks to Batman Gotham by Gaslight. For me, it's number 5, Mr. Freeze's monologue to Batman about never again being able to walk on a hot summer's day with the hot wind in your face and a warm hand to hold from Heart of Ice. And number 4, the final DCU or the DCAU confrontation between Batman and the Joker in the flashback Batman Beyond Return of the Joker. Number 3, Bruce and Selina riding off with the rest of the Bat family at the end of Batman Gotham by Gaslight. Number 2, the scene between Bruce and Selena in the carriage in Gotham by Gaslight. And number 1, Bruce and Selena talking about their past in Selena's room in Gotham by Gaslight. Yeah, this is really hard to think about, especially the more we get animated movies and series. But I actually made a list, or a video, actually, a YouTube video back in 2011 of my top 10 favorite animated Batman moments. So if you want to check that out, Jordan, just go to YouTube, type in best or top 10 best animated Batman moments. You'll find my videos with my name on there. Just pick what my list was from 2011. But after reading your email, I went back to watch those videos to see if I still feel that way. And I think I'd have to redo them about certain moments in the spots that they're in and ones that I didn't put on there. Now I'm thinking about, man, how can I leave this out, or how do I have that one as low as I did? Should have been higher. So check out those videos, and then now you'll hear my top 5 choices right now. So number 5, I'm going to go with Batman stays with Ace in Justice League Unlimited epilogue. That moment is so great. It's such a touching moment for Batman and Ace staying with her until the end, until she dies. So this is a great moment for Batman, just showing how caring that he is. And then number 4, I'm going to go the graveyard scene / Birth of Batman moment in Mask of the Phantasm, where we see Bruce just begging for his parents' forgiveness for wanting to back out on his promise that he made to them, and then how that culminates into after Andrea leaves him. We see that iconic scene of him in the Batcave putting on the cape and cowl for the first time. It's so great. Goosebumps every time I see that. And then number 3, I'm going to go with this one. If you're watching my video, I would have Under the Red Hood ending, that whole sequence with his fight with Jason Todd, and then the debate they had about killing the Joker. I love that. But now that I think about it, I might have had it a little too high. So number 3, I'm thinking of having that one on there, but I'm actually go with another one that I think is one of my favorite animated Batman moments, which is from Brave and the Bold, where Batman confronts Joe Chill, the man who killed his parents. Again, going back to one of my favorite comic stories, The Untold Legend of the Batman, but that being that where I first saw that moment of Batman confronting his parents' killer just always stood out to me. And then seeing that done in animation for the first time after I've waited years to see it be adapted, the fact that they did it so well in Brave and the Bold and doing it for dialogue by dialogue is how it was in the comic, but it's such an awesome moment for me. So that'll always stick out as one of my favorite animated Batman moments. The number 2, I'm going to go with a sequence from the animated series, Robin's Reckoning Part 1, my favorite Batman the Animated Series episode, that moment where Bruce tells Dick, how his parents were killed too. And they just that was the moment where they first connected and had that bond that would last, a lifetime for them. Just, how similar their childhoods were with losing their parents, and how Bruce tells Dick, the hurt never goes away, but it does get better. Just great emotional stuff there. But my number 1 pick, it's still my number 1 pick now, and it was when I made that video back in 2011. It's the end, or that flashback sequence in Return of the Joker. It's just so spectacular. It's, to me, the perfect final scenario sequence you can have of Batman versus the Joker. What Joker did to Batman by, corrupting Tim Drake and making him crazy, and then wanting him to kill Batman, but it turns on his head with Tim killing the Joker. But the way that Joker presented it to Batman, showing him those videos and then revealing he knows his identity, just such awesome stuff there, especially when you're watching it for the first time after you grew up watching the animated series and knowing everything that Batman and the Joker has went through, and then you hear him call Batman Bruce. It's just chill inducing, another moment that gives you chills. So that will always be my favorite. Just everything the Joker and Batman and that they represent as a hero and a villain all coming to a head in this moment. For it being the final one, it couldn't have been done any better. So those would be my top 5. But definitely check out that video I made back in 2011 about my 10 favorite animated moments. I'll be curious to hear what you think of my choices I have on there. Again, I would probably have to redo it now for a new top 10. But back in 2011, those were my favorites. So let me know what you think of those choices if you get a chance to watch that video. Or I should say videos, because I had to split it up into 3 parts, I believe, because I couldn't fit all of it. YouTube wouldn't allow me to upload a video that long.
For me, probably, I'm just going to give you a couple. Probably the scene in Heart of Ice where Alfred gives Bruce the chicken soup. Mm-hmm. That's probably my favorite scene from that episode.
Even more so than the emotional Mr. Freeze ones.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's got to have some chicken soup handy, right?
Only way to fight a cold.
Two, or I'm not even numbering this. My next one is, like you mentioned, the end scene of Under the Red Hood. My next one is, or my final one, I guess, is, of course, I mean, I'm surprised you didn't mention this, Tim. I don't know how you missed this, but of course it's the scene with Bruce and Barbara in The Killing Joke. No. My favorite one, my absolute favorite is the just the intro of the animated series. I've always liked that. It never gets old for me. I always never skip it. I always watch the entire thing, and was kind of let down with I'm not sure who does it. Warner Brothers, how they cut that out of some of the releases. I think the digital release that I got on Amazon, on iTunes, doesn't have it. So
that stinks.
Yeah, it's just the little animated segment of Bugs Bunny chomping into the carrot next to the Warner Brothers logo, and then it goes straight into the title card. So,
oh wow, I'm surprised they do that.
Yeah, kind of not really ruined it, but just kind of let me down on that one. So yeah, probably just the intro of the animated series.
It's a good choice.
Yeah.
It is an iconic opening sequence. It is hard to skip. You're right when you watch it, no matter how many times you go back.
I never skip it. I always watch the entire thing. So yeah,
it's the perfect length too. Yeah, it's not too long where it makes you feel like you should skip it, and you're just enjoying it every time. The music, yeah.
Yeah, right.
All right, and Jordan's second question is: how would you rank the 7 crossovers that the new Batman Adventures had with the DC Animated Universe shows? My ranking is number 7, The Demon Reborn from Superman, the animated series. Number 6, Big Leagues from Static Shock. Number 5, Hard as Nails from Static Shock. Number 4, Future Shock from Static Shock. And number 3, Nighttime from Superman. Number 2, Girls Night Out from Batman. And number 1, World's Finest. Yeah, for me, it's not going to be 7. It's only going to be 5 because I haven't seen 2 of those Static Shock episodes. I did see the one Big Leagues, but I haven't seen the other 2. Static Shock, the Zeta Project, I know those are in the DC Animated Universe continuities, but those were shows I never really watched all the way through. But my list would go number 5, Big Leagues. Number 4, Girls Night Out. Number 3, The Demon Reborn. I just think that concept of Ra's al Ghul wanting to, take Superman's body is such a great idea, and he would definitely be the most unstoppable force on Earth if he got that. So I always like that episode. Number 2, Nighttime. This is just a plain fun episode with seeing Superman try to be Batman and Tim Drake trying to tell him how Batman would do things. It was just really, really fun. I always love that one. And then World's Finest. How can that not be number 1? The crossover of all crossovers. Still one of my favorite Batman and Superman stories of how they first met, teaming up to take down the Joker and Luthor. And that moment of Batman first confronting Superman, them discovering each other's identities is so well done. So yeah, World's Finest definitely has to be my number 1 as far as crossover goes.
Let's see if I can think of one, Tim. Didn't they do a crossover with I can't even remember, but didn't they do a animated episode of Alan Moore's For the Man Who Has Everything?
Yeah, that was a Justice League episode.
Oh, so not really a crossover then.
Yeah, just Batman, Wonder Woman, Superman.
Well, I will pick that one and make like it's a crossover.
Well, it is a fantastic episode, so
yeah. Even better comic. So yeah. That's gonna be my pick.
And that's it for Jordan's questions and emails. So as always, thank you, Jordan, for sharing in your thoughts and giving us some good questions to go over, especially when they have to do with the animated series. It always makes it tough for me to decide and make a top 5 list.
Yeah.
When it comes to that. animated series stuff because there's so much awesomeness when it comes to those series.
And let me just say, Bruce and Barbara is better than Bruce and Selena.
Ooh, I think Jordan's going to stop the podcast right there.
No. He'll never send in another email.
Thanks a lot, Dane. Thanks a lot. Yeah, I don't think you'll ever hear any Batman fans say that. I would be shocked if I heard anyone take the Batman-Barbara relationship over any of his relationships.
That was so bad.
Yeah.
That was terrible. So, now we can move on to our comic book reviews. And like we say at the beginning of every single comic book review, there's going to be a lot of spoilers in this part of the podcast. So if you haven't read your books, you might want to pause this right now and come back to this later. So for this episode, we are going to be reviewing Detective Comics number 978, Batman number 45, and Batman TMNT II number 6. I think they got to rename that comic, Tim.
Yeah, when they do a sequel, just don't have a numerical as part of the title, like number 2. Just give it a subtitle. That's it. Batman TMNT Attack on the Technodrome or something like that.
Or
no numbers.
How about Batman and Ninja Turtles?
Batman and the Ninja Turtles?
Yeah.
You want to take out the Teenage Mutant part of it?
Yeah. Just because there's not enough room on the comic to do that.
That's why they got to put the abbreviation of TMNT.
Isn't that what they call the movies now? Just Ninja Turtles?
No, though at first I think, but then I think they heard a backlash since they had to put back the Teenage Mutant part of it.
Oh. How's that franchise doing? Are they going to make another movie?
No, I think the movies right now are dead. The last one did not perform good, so
really,
didn't make as much as the first one.
What is the number on that?
I don't even remember, but not what they were looking for. I guess it didn't have a great opening weekend, and I don't even know if it made it. I don't think it made like 100 million or anything like that.
Let me check that really quick.
The thing was, I know it was better received from Turtle fans than the first one was, but
Chris Evans was in it?
No, he was in the TMNT animated one back in 2007.
Oh, the first one.
Well, it's not really the first one. It technically could have been considered the fourth one out of the original movies because it takes place in that continuity. But he was the voice of Casey Jones in that animated movie.
Was it Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see.
So what did it make?
135 million on a 245 million budget.
Yeah.
So it barely made half of its budget back.
Which is not good.
Yeah. Tony Shalhoub was in it.
Who?
Tony Shalhoub.
I don't know who he plays.
Splinter.
Oh, that's right. He does the voice of who does? Because the guy, I forget the actor's name. Is it Tony Shalhoub, the little guy who played Mickey on Seinfeld, Kramer's friend?
I'm not sure. He played Monk.
He played Splinter on set, but someone else did his voice. And was it Tony Shalhoub? I guess.
Yeah. Tony Shalhoub did the voice, and then Peter Badalamenti did the motion capture.
Okay.
Megan Fox as April.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Stephen Amell was in it?
Yeah, he was Casey Jones.
Wow.
He did good. It was a different take on Casey Jones, but I like his performance in the role.
Will Arnett, Lego Batman, was in it.
Yep.
And
he had some funny ones.
Tyler Perry was in it.
Yep, Baxter Stockman, though he did not turn into a fly.
A mad scientist who allies with Shredder in the latter's aims to take over New York City. Carmela Anthony. DeAndre Jordan, Lou Amundsen, J.J. Redick, Austin Rivers, Matt Barnes, and Spencer Hawes. Why is there so many NBA players in this movie?
Because at the beginning they go to a basketball game, like, and there's
Oh,
a
I
lot of
see.
yeah, a lot of real players there. So one of them slips on a pizza that the turtles dropped from the ceiling rafters.
It's kind of like how the Pittsburgh Steelers were in Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah, kind of. Except that they get some lines though in this movie.
Let's see what's its Rotten Tomatoes score?
I think it's
37.
20, 37. Oh, higher than what I thought.
Yeah, it's just like that the Rock Rampage movie.
Is that like 27 too?
No, it's the highest rated video game movie
Oh, wow.
on Rotten Tomatoes. You got a 51, I think.
Yeah, tells you what it says about comic book or video game movies. Now, we know comic book movies have much higher ratings on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
Just look at the Dark Knight trilogy.
But you know what I'm thinking about the Ninja Turtles movies? I think they need star actors as the Turtles.
No, they don't. I wouldn't want that. The guys who played the Turtles in this movie are actually really, really good.
Because I've never heard of these guys.
No, but they were true to the characters and got their personalities down right. So.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, well.
I would kind of like it if the Turtles, if they were taken a little more seriously, how they are in the comics. If we got like a Netflix show, kind of how Daredevil is.
Yeah.
Turtles, that would be awesome. That's what I would hope to see. Have a little smaller budget. Doesn't need to be outlandish like the last movie was. If you wanted to go where there's a lot of mutants and aliens, what the Turtles can have, but which would be cool to see. But if you want to strip it down, have it be more, streamlined, you can do a great TV show to have it street level, which the Turtles have plenty of great stories for. So I think that a Netflix route would be amazing, but I don't know if that's ever going to happen.
Is that the problem? Is it too campy?
The movies were, yeah. They were trying to have it based more on the original 80s show.
Yeah.
So they wanted to capture some of that campiness with it too. But there's been so much more better adaptations of Turtles than the 87 cartoon series that had the fun aspect, but take them seriously as well. So.
Yeah, and, I kind of feel sorry for Ninja Turtle fans because they haven't really got a good movie.
No, the first movie is awesome. It's just in general, I think it's an underrated comic book movie, but that's right now is a perfect Turtle movie that we're going to get. It stuck really close to the source material, those original comics.
Yeah.
And the fighting was really good in those suits too. And the suits still look great. Probably still the best representation of the Turtles for a movie.
Wait, you're talking about the 1990 movie?
Yeah.
Yeah. Those things are horrifying.
They got horrifying. Like the second one and the third one, oh man, you should look at the costumes for the third one. They look god awful.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta. So
the quality definitely declined as the sequels came out.
I have to rent Dylan Dog, and I gotta rent the third Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. Also, I think that the original movies, right? They did 3 of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think the second one is called The Secret of the Ooze.
Yep.
That is probably the best title of a movie.
It's not bad.
Is that the one with Vanilla Ice?
Yes, it is. That's where its extra budget went to. Instead of making the costumes look better, they gave it to Vanilla Ice.
I think I gotta watch the whole trilogy, Tim.
Yeah, you got to. The first 2 are very, like I said, the first one's great. The second one's enjoyable. Besides some, campy stuff with Vanilla Ice and all that stuff. And then the third one is just, that's like Batman and Robin level, where you could probably get some enjoyment out of it because it's so bad.
Yeah. Didn't he release, or didn't he also do the soundtrack for
that? Just one song, the Ninja Rap.
I gotta listen to that.
You'll recognize when you hear it. The Go Ninja, Go Ninja.
Oh
go.
Yeah. Well, maybe when you're doing your comic reviews, I'll listen to that.
Okay.
Because
then you can give me your review of that.
Yeah, that's what I'll do. But anyway, that was a big sidetrack. I don't even know how we got onto that.
Well, it's because we're going to review the Batman TMNT
Oh yeah,
comic.
right. So yeah, rating scale for this episode, I guess, has to do something with those original trilogy movies.
How about the amount of the budget that went to Vanilla Ice instead of like Turtles costume?
That sounds like a good one. So
Okay.
our rating scale for this one is going to be amount of the budget that didn't go to the special effects and the turtle costumes and went to Vanilla Ice instead.
So sad. So sad. But in a way, that's what gives that movie its charm, even as dumb as it is. When I've seen Vanilla Ice there, it's still a part of that movie.
I think Vanilla Ice, I mean, you could have your regular movie. Let's say The Dark Knight, right? Great movie. But can you imagine how much better it would have been with Vanilla Ice in it?
Hey, they're at a nightclub sequence for a little bit in the movies. They could have panned down and showed Vanilla Ice performing there, just like the Turtles movie.
Could have contributed a song to the soundtrack.
Yep. I think it would have gotten its Oscar nomination if it had that.
Oh, but, yeah, totally.
So that's on Christopher Nolan for messing that up. Oh, man. But anyway, Detective Comics number 978. No Vanilla Ice appearance in this issue, so don't want to get ropes up there.
Yeah, it's not good then.
No,
right?
So 0 out of 5. So that's it. No, but this one's continuing the fall of the Batman or the Batman Eternal story arc. And it picks up right a little bit after where the last issue ended, where 2 of the colony soldiers, their suits were hijacked and they just shot up a bunch of mobsters, and we get the aftermath of that of Bruce and Tim in the Batcave. Batman took the colony soldiers back to the cave, and then we get a little flashback sequence of showing Bruce and Tim trying to take him down. But they killed, I think, like 18 mobsters already. They were just too late to save them. And Tim's kind of questioning Bruce's, why'd you take him in here? I know Batwoman's behind this. Who else is going to do this? And it's dangerous to bring them to the Batcave. That means the rest of the colony is going to come. But Batman's, of course, being a little more skeptical. I like how he calls Tim out here saying, you're supposed to be a detective. But you're letting your emotions get the better of you here just because of, the mystery of the future timeline and what your future self told you about Batwoman. So, Batman has to get more of the facts here. He knows where he's going to get him, but he's going to leave Tim here and to the Batcave to watch things over with those colony soldiers. So Bruce ends up going to his mother's old house, the Kane Mansion. This is great splash page where it shows Bruce entering the mansion. It's very dark, the house, but there's this great lighting of Batman walking up the stairs into the house. This is a great visual piece in the comic that really stood out to me that I loved. So he goes in there to meet Batwoman and her father, Colonel Kane, there to kind of straighten this whole thing out, where Bruce thinks they're behind this, doing this with their soldiers, taking out the mob bosses. The fact that Catwoman killed Clayface and the argument they had there, like Tim alluded to, it's not totally out of the realm of possibility that this would be the colony's next step. But then Batwoman is countering, saying, is starting to think that maybe, somebody's trying to pit us against each other. And we know how Tim Drake kind of has a grudge against me now, especially what his future self was saying. So they're basically questioning each other about who the thing's behind all this. And we know that it is Ulysses who hacked those colony suits, and he makes his presence known in this issue that he's behind all of it. As back in the Batcave with Tim, gets a visit from Cassandra Cain, which this is a nice moment here too, as she's kind of questioning, everything they do is good, but Tim kind of reasserts her, saying we try our best to do good, but we make mistakes. But I like how Tim tries to, do his part and and what he can to help her cope with the loss of Clayface, and how they used to, read lines together from the play A Midsummer Night's Dream. And he's asked her, do you need a new scene partner? I'd be happy to do it. And maybe we could start, but then it clicks with him, about who's actually behind this and how this is being done, saying how like the bodies in the suits, they weren't networked into the colony suits. They were like relying on a totally different network. And that makes him realize, it was Ulysses who was doing that. And he's putting nanites into their bodies through those suits. And so we get Ulysses, get him in his lair, shaving his head for some reason. When he gets revealed, he's going to call himself a colonel or a general, I guess, to make him look more like Batwoman's father, I guess, since he worked with him. So I guess in a strange way, he's trying to show his respect for him. He didn't actually say that, but that's what I'm gathering for trying to look more like the Colonel here. But he's hacking more suits from the colony, and then he starts an attack against Bruce and Kane here within Father and the Kane home. And as he's making an attack on the Kane home, he infiltrates the Bat computers and he reveals himself to Tim. And pretty much his plan is how the whole purpose of hacking those colony suits and their soldiers was that he's going to turn them into OMACs. And the end of the issue reveals as Tim, we'd see Cassandra Cain just yelling, like screaming or like questioning Tim as Ulysses is saying, you're supposed to be in charge of this whole operation, but even though you're not, I still have, a way for you to be a part of it. And then the last page is seeing Tim transform into an OMAC, just screaming. So it was a good issue, showing where it's going. Like I said, like the character moments between Batman and Batwoman, trying to get to the bottom of the mystery of who's hacked their suits. And then also the moment between Tim and Cassandra Cain was really good. I'm just not totally into the idea of, the OMACs playing a role of what's looking to be the final arc of James Tynion runs here, and then Tim transforming into an OMAC. Just, I don't know, doesn't seem to be the way I guess I figured the story was to end on a grander note, because I know about Brother Eye and the OMAC from previous stories. That hasn't really been my favorite thing. So the fact that the story is going to end on that front with bringing them into the picture, and it's not horrible or anything. I was kind of hoping for something a little different, but we'll see how it all wraps up. So I'll give this issue a 3.5 out of 5 amounts of the budget for TMNT Secret of the Ooze that didn't go to the costumes. It went to Vanilla Ice. So Batman number 45 is next. And
hey, Tim, before you get to Batman number 45, can I give my review of Go Ninja?
So you watched it already? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
You very well can.
I don't know what you talked about with Detective Comics number 978, because I was totally engrossed in Vanilla Ice's Go Ninja, Go Ninja, Go.
A masterpiece, right?
A masterpiece, Tim. First off, Ninja Turtles dancing. That's number one on my list. It's why I love this music video. Second, I don't understand why Vanilla Ice decided to put him talking about the song before the music video and after the music video.
See, I don't remember that.
Yeah,
I just remember the sequence from the movie.
He's like talking about receiving the script and what they were gonna do with the Secret of the Ooze, I guess.
Okay.
Thirdly, yeah, you're right. Those Ninja Turtle outfits really, really needed the budget to go through that. Because I'm just looking at the still shot at the end where they're holding Vanilla Ice up. Oh man, what's the purple one's name?
Donatello.
His face, it looks terrible. It's him smiling, and it doesn't. The mouth is open for some reason. I don't. Yeah, the budget should have went to that.
I just wait till you see you should look up the costumes for the third one.
Yeah. And I guess my last point is, it's mostly just the beat of the song. It's mostly instrumental and Vanilla Ice dancing, rather than
and just saying "Go Ninja, Go Ninja."
Yeah, Go Ninja. He only has 2, I guess, bars in it, or
there's a little. What
you call it? Yeah,
there's 1 or 2 verses of him rapping in there,
but the rest of him is just doing that head nod dance.
Yeah. I think it's funny too how in the movie he sees these turtles and these 2 monsters break into the nightclub. They're fighting.
Yeah.
Instead of helping, calling the police or something, getting out of there, getting everyone to safety. No, I would have decided to still play the music, and all of a sudden these lyrics and the beat just comes into his head, and he starts making up ninja rap.
Yeah, so hopefully they got their money's worth for that. If I were to give it a number, I'd probably give it a 3 out of 5 dollars that should have went to the Ninja Turtles costumes rather than Vanilla Ice, because I mean just the Ninja Turtles dancing period is definitely worth every penny. So yeah, 3 out of 5 for me.
Okay. So you got the Ninja Turtles dancing in the air. So when I review Batman number 45, here's what I want you to look up next.
Okay.
Look up Ninja Turtles Out of Their Shells concert tour. Either just pictures or there might be videos of it.
Okay, let me write this down. So what is it?
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of Their Shells tour.
Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of Their Shell tour. Okay. All right. And then you can go and review Batman number 45.
So Batman number 45, and this one was a weird one. It's starting off a new story arc before the Batman Catwoman wedding called The Gift. And it just starts off strangely with Green Lantern saying, I can do anything. You don't think, like, the ring's supposed to not let us hurt ourselves with it, but I could do it. And it just starts with Green Lantern punching himself with the ring. And then we see Booster Gold looking, like, awkwardly or like, strangely at what he just did. And so this whole issue is about Booster Gold getting a gift for Batman. But as I'm reading, like, what's going on? This is like a different timeline, different stuff. Strange things are going on here. And so the basic premise of this issue is that Booster Gold wants to get Batman a gift. And as we were talking about earlier with the man who has everything, he got inspired by that and what Superman went through. And he wanted to give Batman the same thing. And so he decided that what would be a good gift for Batman is if he stops Thomas and Martha Wayne from being murdered, and Bruce would be able to see how his life would be without, being Batman and his parents still being around. But he had Bruce to go on that brilliant.
God,
Oh, what a way to interrupt the review! But I'm glad you had that reaction.
Oh my God.
Oh man, I don't think you can wait till I'm done with my Batman 45 review.
I mean,
I gotta hear it now.
Are they actually playing?
I don't think so. No, I think it's just a recording that's going over these concerts. They're not playing.
So what is this? I mean, what? Is this like a tie-in with the movie?
No, this is to milk the TMNT franchise as much as they could during their height of their popularity. They actually had a concert tour.
Really?
Where, you would go see him perform that with awful costumes and songs.
Yeah, for one thing, the costumes look awful.
Yeah.
They look terrible. Are the mouths even moving?
I doubt it.
When they're singing? Hold on. I'm in the middle of a guitar solo.
A guitar or a keytar? Because I know that's mainly what they use as keytars. Oh,
no, they're not moving. They're not moving. Or if they are, they're moving very little. Because look at that jean jacket.
Yeah. The denim vest.
Yeah, the denim vest.
Oh.
And
yeah,
what I don't understand is who saw this? Who paid money for this?
I wonder how much tickets cost for that. Unfortunately, I didn't get to go as much as I love the
Yeah, unfortunately, Tim. I mean, it's literally just people in Ninja Turtle costumes, fake playing instruments,
just moving around
like bands from the early 90s.
Yeah. Like New Kids on the Block and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean,
but Splinter and April do believe make appearances throughout the show. So,
is there any tie-in with anything? Like the movies?
Well,
yeah.
I think they had a tie-in with Pizza Hut, like a promotional thing for that. That's like you got discounts on tickets, or you got a video of the concert, something like that.
Wow, really? I need this. I need this on DVD or HD DVD or something. One of those VHS.
You know, 4K.
A 4K. Yeah. I need this. I need to watch this entire thing. You know what? Never mind. I'm gonna stop doing this podcast right now just to watch this entire thing. I mean, this needs to be seen. I mean,
okay. As I go through my Batman 45 review, I got to give you something else to watch once you're done with that.
I'm not gonna be done with this, Tim, until I watch the whole thing.
But it ties into that. You're gonna have more stuff to watch.
Okay.
Believe it or not, these turtles, the Out of Their Shells content tour, were on the Oprah Winfrey Show for an interview. Mm-hmm.
No way. In the turtle costumes?
In the turtle costumes, yeah. Denim vest and all.
I need to watch this. I need to find this right now. I need to see this. If you're listening to this at home, you need to type this into Google. I mean, into YouTube. Because, that's...
It's the high mark of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and over the 30-year history. I mean, this is it right here. No wonder the movies didn't do good. The last one couldn't compete with this.
I'm just watching. Sorry if there's long pauses because I'm just watching this with the sound off, and they're dancing. They're dancing. They're fake playing guitar and drums and bass, and.
It is a sight to behold.
They're super serious about this.
Oh man, I just love that you're enjoying it so much.
Yeah, it's forget the movies, forget the original movies, forget the new movies, forget any movie you've ever seen in your entire life. Because I've seen the best thing that you will ever see in your entire life.
Oh, I'm so glad I'm able to share it with you.
Oh man, this is a gift. This is a gift, Tim.
You're very welcome, Dane.
This is the greatest gift I've ever received from anyone. My parents, my girlfriend, my sisters, anybody. This was the greatest gift I've ever received, Tim. Thank you.
Oh, I'm extremely happy to help. Your life is so much more improved now having experienced the turtles out of their shells.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess get back to the Batman 45 review, and I'll try to look up this Oprah interview.
Yes. Okay. So, as I was saying, Batman 45. Booster Gold's brilliant gift idea, speaking of gifts, as you were saying, Dave, his brilliant gift idea for Batman was to give him this alternate timeline, but then he had the brilliant idea of saying, you know, the way you would get back from it is that once you realize how things weren't so good in this scenario, you would jump right back to go fix it in the past with me and Skeets. And yeah, that actually didn't work out so good for Booster Gold, as Bruce hears him and he's kind of saying, you know, I always felt something was wrong with the world. I'd have dreams about, you know, seeing my parents were murdered and I'd see pearls falling. And then he's all like, somehow I always know him. Thank you, Booster. But instead of going with him, he busts up Skeets with the fireplace poker to smashes Skeets, which was the time machine Booster Gold counted on to use to go back and fix everything. So now he's bit in a bind about this screwed up timeline. And I did like over the course of the issue, we got to see what effects of Bruce not becoming Batman had on the rest of the Bat family. We see Tim as a Wayne engineer, just in a standard cubicle type job, just looking at a computer monitor. Dick actually became Batman. He encountered Booster Gold, but it's a Batman with tons of firepower, not afraid to kill. And there's also a Joker's gang. That seems to be the case in a lot of Batman alternate timelines in future. There's a gang based on the Jokers. Then we see Jason Todd, who's working with tires, which I felt was fitting. He's a tire salesman. We see a commercial of him advertising some anti-Jokers tires that shocks them if they try to steal them from cars, which, of course, we know that's how Batman first encountered Jason, as he was trying to steal tires off the Batmobile. So I thought that was a nice touch. We got a moment with Talia and Ra's al Ghul saying how there'll never be an heir. Talia says, I'm the only heir the League of Assassins need. Then we see Duke, who pretty much had the saddest alternate fate of all, as we see him pretty much as a vegetable with a lobotomy scarring on his head. We just see someone trying to feed him, which is a sad sight to see. So Booster Gold messed things up. And this issue, kind of torn on it. I always like seeing these type of stories, like Perchance the Dream, what would happen if Batman or Bruce's parents were never killed, what would his life and others be like. So I like it showing the scenario of what that effect would have on the rest of the Bat family members. But just the plot of it now, with Booster Gold thinking this was a good idea, and Booster was really obnoxious throughout this whole issue. And he just had a really good arc with Superman not too long ago, and where he was more responsible as like the guardian of time and things you couldn't do with time travel. And the fact that he would do this as a wedding present for Bruce has felt even more so out of character than Booster Gold than I'm used to. He could be kind of a goofy character and does some things that are, not right all the time, but his heart's always in the right place. And it wasn't the case here. So didn't really like the characterization of Booster here. Just felt off. So I'm just going to give this issue 2.5 out of 5 of the amounts of the budget that didn't go to the costumes of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #2, but instead went to Vanilla Ice, and definitely not to Out of Their Shells concert tour, because I don't think that had any budget.
Yeah, so I just watched this Oprah interview, and
doesn't it make you want to watch the whole thing?
The skit before, it's bizarre, I'd say. I don't know if you saw the skit before.
I don't remember the skit. No.
Yeah, there was a skit before it, and then I guess while she's interviewing the turtles, April O'Neil somehow shows up, and then Shredder comes out the back.
Oh, I don't remember seeing Shredder. I gotta check that out now.
It's something, Tim. I mean, when you think of Oprah, you think of like these groundbreaking, serious interviews.
I don't know how she made it through that show, man. To keep a straight face.
I don't. And she's super serious about it too.
Yeah, she did the best she could.
I guess it just goes to show how good of an interviewer or journalist, I guess you could say, that Oprah is, because she took it super serious. I mean, it's something, Tim.
Oh man, I wish I could have made it to those shows. Now that I'm thinking about it, I mean, I'm a big TMNT fan. The fact that I couldn't see this groundbreaking, monumental part of the Turtles' history just filled with regret. Now.
And by the way, I guess the Oprah clip was higher quality than the Out of Their Shells thing, and their mouths are moving when they sing, and it's fake guitars.
Yeah, I don't think they're plugged into anything.
It's fake guitars. So
I guess for the concerts, they figure no one's gonna be able to see if the mouths moves or not, as long as they're hearing the songs. But when you're up close for those interviews, you gotta give it a little bit to make it like they're real or they're moving.
I wonder how many shows they played.
I know, that's a good question.
I wonder how long it went on before people were like, "Yeah, we're not going to see this."
And if they sold out anywhere, that would be an interesting question to get answered. If it actually succeeded in what they wanted to, but I don't think it did that well.
Yeah, I mean, are they playing the Hollywood Bowl, or are they playing some like a VFW venue?
Yeah, how big was the venue?
Yeah, I mean, are they playing like Madison Square Garden, or are they playing like a small little club? I mean, this. I mean, I guess this is like a promotion thing, and it looks like they're playing like a regular venue. So
they definitely played some real venue. Just the question is how big that venue was.
Yeah.
Try to look that up next, Dane.
I mean, sorry. Before you get to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comic book, which is good, I assume, I'm just wondering what happened to the franchising rights, I guess, or merchandising rights, or I'm just wondering how something like this happens. I mean, did the creators have any say in what happens to the franchise? I mean, obviously not, or maybe they did, and they were just like, okay, just make the most money we can out of this.
They weren't like that.
Okay, yeah, I assumed because they seems like they're level-headed. But I'm just wondering what happened to the property in the early
Yeah,
90s, I guess.
this could have been maybe the Playmates did the toys. Maybe this was their idea, and maybe they totally created the idea. This, as everything was just booming for the turtles at that time, figured this be another avenue to look into. I guess if people would want to see the turtles in concert.
I guess. But I mean, you see, like, I don't know, let's take the Fantastic Four, right? This is before Disney made or bought Marvel, right? They made some bad movies, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't go out on tour. There wasn't there wasn't a thing after that. So like I'm just wondering like what happened with the TMNT property.
Like I said, I think it's just them trying to milk it as much as they could, like every avenue they can.
Yeah, but who? Like that? Who did that? Was it the creators or was it the?
I don't know exactly who it was, but it's got to be some company that, like I said, whether it was Playmates or maybe it was the movie studio. I don't know, like New Line. I don't know.
Was it the property holders?
Yeah, or maybe Pizza Hut wanted to do it. Maybe they worked out a deal. I don't know.
I mean, like, how does this happen? I'm just wondering. I mean, my mind is blown. Like, how does this happen? How do they get from a kind of underground comic book, right?
Mm-hmm.
To this.
Like I said, it's the apex of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Doesn't get any higher than that.
I guess so. It's not the Michael Bay movies, Tim. It's not that. It's this.
Yeah, it's not even their team up with Batman.
Yeah, like I'm just wondering, like, how did this happen, and like, how long did this Out of Their Shells tour go on? So many questions, Tim, about the Ninja Turtles.
So many questions we'll have to get the answers for at some point.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, let's get to the Batman and TMNT II number 6 review, Tim.
Yeah, something unfortunately not as good as Out of the Shadows, but, I had to make do with what I have here. No, but this one sadly is the last part of Batman TMNT number 2 until hopefully we get a TMNT 3, which I think is a pretty good chance. So this one, the Turtles and Batman, Nightwing, Robin, Batgirl, Casey Jones and April, they're all going to take the fight to Bane at Liberty Island as he's gaining control of the city and taking some hostages of New York there. So they have a two-pronged plan where Donatello is going to go from the air in the classic iconic turtle blimp and disperse his anti-venom gas, which is going to turn all of Bane's henchmen, the foot soldiers, Bebop and Rocksteady, from their oversized induced venom bodies into their normal cells, which, it's still going to be a challenge for them, but not as much as it would be with everyone doped up on venom. So he releases the gas, and then the Turtles with Damian, like I said, Damian, Nightwing, Batgirl, April, and Casey Jones, they're going to do the other attack and take down the foot soldiers. The Turtles and the Bat family members are going to do that, while Casey and April are going to try to get all the hostages they had out into safety. Then the other part is Batman with Splinter going to confront Bane, but as we knew from the last issue, it ended with Batman releasing Shredder from prison to get his help to get control of the Foot Clan back. And I got to tell you, what a geek out moment this was. Batman, Shredder, and Splinter taking on Bane. I mean, I didn't ever think that would be something I'd read in a comic book, but I'm so glad I got it here. And the one thing I've said, even from the first TMNT Batman crossover, is how what I wanted to see most out of anything with this team up is Batman fighting the Shredder. And I'll get to that a little later at the end of this issue, but this was a nice, I guess, consolation prize, so that if I didn't get that, seeing Batman fight with Shredder and Splinter taking out Bane was the next best thing, because it was an awesome fight sequence of seeing the three of them take on this gigantic sized Bane. We got Splinter using his small and size and his rat reflexes to attack from the top of Bane to distract him, while Batman and Shredder go for the bottom, like his legs and his arms, and then cutting up his venom tubes to take him down. It was just really cool seeing all three of them fight together. Then mixing that up with the Turtles and the Bat family members taking on the Foot Soldiers and Bebop and Rocksteady. Just a really fun, action-packed issue with a lot of geek-out moments seeing these characters fight together. Just awesome stuff. So the Batman, Shredder, and Splinter are able to knock Bane down. Not necessarily beat him just yet, but this is once they knock him out of his lair out into the open with his Foot Soldiers. Shredder uses this opportunity to get his army back, rallying his troops and making them see, he's their true leader and not Bane. And he's able to do the trick, and it gets them to, join with his granddaughter here, Karai, to level the playing field, but pretty much to get them out so the rest of them can just focus on taking out Bane. And the only one members of Bane's army that he has left are Bebop and Rocksteady, but of course without Venom. So this is the other final part of this battle is this everyone, Batman, Shredder, Splinter, the four Turtles, Batgirl, Robin, Nightwing, all going against Bane now, and Bebop and Rocksteady. They're just pounding each of them, taking out Bebop and Rocksteady easy, and then doing what they can against Bane. But the thing that's able to get Bane is that Donatello shoots out a bunch of elephant trank darts into Bane to put him out of commission after they were able to take him down a little bit. So there's a lot of great action moments here. Like I said, geek out moments with seeing these characters from these two franchises that I love so much battle it out against Bane. It's so cool to read. And it's the point of this crossover, just to have great moments, fun moments like this and awesome action. So that was great. And Batman eventually goes back to, Gotham with Bane, who's knocked out, goes back with, of course, the rest of the Bat family members. And what I liked about it, though, is what he left with Donatello. Donatello, again, tries to apologize about, him just being all his fault. Batman tells he doesn't need to. And I like here, too, at the end, after he leaves, Donatello looks in his lab, and he sees a note, and it's from Batman. It's a training protocol for all the Robins do. And Donatello's just excited, hey, guys, guess what I've got? This is some Batman left for me to increase my training, help me do better. And everyone's all, hey, you've got to share that with us, right? Right? But Donatello already left with it. And the issue ends with a picture of all the Turtles and all the Bat family members gathered together for a little photograph that they took. And again, it says the end for now. Again, it's like the first story arc did, highlighting we'd get a second one, which we did. So hopefully that means we're going to get a third one. But I mentioned Batman versus Shredder, and this is going to be my one nitpick of a really fun issue. I both love it and hate it at the same time, where they asked Batman, how'd you get Shredder to, agree to join you and not double cross you or anything? And Batman reveals to them, he agreed to help us under one condition. He wanted to fight me, just me and him, a rematch. And we just get one panel on the page of Batman and Shredder going at it. It's no, you can't say that they fought and only give me one panel showing that fight sequence. Something I've been dying to see. It's it's the cruelest tease to know that it happened, which is awesome, but not to see it. That's what makes it hurt. Wanted it so bad, because in the first arc, Batman and Shredder had a fight, but Batman was in this high-tech robotic suit, and I wanted it just one-on-one, no enhanced powers or anything. Just they're great martial artists, two of the best. I wanted to see them go at it, and they did, but we just didn't get to see it all. But it's assumed Batman won. I'm going to take it since Shredder did end up helping him, but I just wanted to see that so bad, and the fact that it was just a tease was a little disappointing. So gonna have to knock off a half a point for that. But I just love this issue, a solid, epic conclusion to another fun crossover between Batman and the Turtles. So I'm gonna give this one 4.5 out of 5 amounts of the budget that didn't go to the costumes in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #2 or Out of the Shadows, but went to Vanilla Ice and bad denim clothes and keyboards and guitar. So.
Yeah, I'm just watching more of this, Tim.
You're engrossed now, Dane. You can't escape it.
Have you seen the whole thing, Tim?
No, I haven't seen the whole thing.
Okay,
I don't think I can.
I can't imagine going to something like this as an adult. They must have been so oh my god.
Yeah, those poor parents taking their kids to that.
I spent $300 on this.
I hope it did not cost that much.
Oh, but anyway, I guess we should end this show while we're ahead.
Yeah, well, we know what we're going to be doing after, right when we end. Continue watching those videos.
Yeah. Go to BatmanUniverse.net, Facebook.com/BatmanUniverse, Twitter handles @BatmanUniverse, shows Twitter handles @BatFansPodcast. Tim's Twitter handle's at TimG311. I'll say it since you've given me this great gift.
Well, thank you.
My Twitter handle's at Dane Says Banana. You can email the show at batfans@gmail.com. And yeah, that's it. So, like we say at the end of every single show, Tim, what do we say?
We love each and every one of you with all of our Bat and TMNT denim shirts as parts.
I have to say that's the best part of the whole out of their shells costume.
Is there a fantastic wardrobe? Yep.
So yeah, we'll see you guys next time.
Yeah, see you next time.
Singing in the sewer is a wonderful sound. Out of my shell, oh, out of my shell. You know we're coming out of our shell. We're staying underground. The singing in the sewer is a wonderful sound. Out of a shell. Out of a shell. You know we're coming out of a shell. We're coming out. We're coming out. We're coming out. We're coming out of a shell. We're coming out. We're coming out. We're coming out of our shell. We're coming out of our shell. Oh! Totally radical! Fabuloso! We love you! We love you! Thank you!